Dr. Maria Lopez stood in the communication center of the U.S. Unity, staring at the approaching alien fleet. She was the diplomatic advisor for the human exploration mission, but nothing in her training had prepared her for this situation. 300 alien warships were heading straight for them, and every attempt at peaceful communication had made things worse. There has to be another way, Maria said to herself. Then an idea hit her like lightning. Captain Anderson, I need to speak with you immediately. Captain Tim Anderson was a calm man who always thought before he acted. He listened carefully as Maria explained her plan. You want to do what? Tim asked, not sure he had heard correctly. Instead of trying to tell them we're peaceful, let's show them, Maria said. We've been trying to convince them with words, but our translation systems keep making us sound like conquerors. What if we showed them our technology in a way that even the most suspicious alien couldn't misunderstand? Tim thought about it. What exactly do you have in mind? We broadcast our technical knowledge. Not weapons information, but peaceful technology. Medicine, energy production, food systems. Things that help people instead of hurting them. Captain Tim Anderson called the other human ships. Within minutes, all 5 captains were talking together on a video call. Maria has an idea that might save us all, Tim began. But it means giving away some of our most advanced technology. Jake Harrison spoke first. If it prevents a war, I'm willing to try anything. Captain Paul Johnson of the Liberty agreed. My science team has been working on new medical treatments. If sharing that information can stop people from dying today, then that's what we should do. Captain Larry Davis of the Endeavour was more careful. What if they use our technology against you, Slater? Larry, said Captain Rachel Kim of the Discovery, if we don't try this, there might not be a later. Look at your screens. Those ships will be in weapons range in 20 minutes. The 5 captains agreed to try Maria's plan. They would broadcast peaceful technology to the entire galaxy and hope that someone would understand their true intentions. Dr. Maria Lopez worked faster than she had ever worked in her life. She gathered information from all 5 ships. Medical technology that could cure diseases that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Clean energy systems that could power entire planets. Agricultural techniques that could feed billions of hungry people. Danny, can you broadcast this information on all frequencies? Maria asked. Communications Officer Danny Walsh nodded. I can send it everywhere in the galaxy at the same time. But are you sure about this? Once we share this technology, we can't take it back. I'm sure, Maria said. Send it all. The transmission began. Across the galaxy, alien scientists and doctors received information that changed everything they thought they knew about physics, medicine, and engineering. On Nexus Prime, old Kethmiran was in his laboratory when his computer started receiving the human transmission. His ancient eyes grew wide as he read page after page of incredible technology. Impossible, he whispered. These designs could eliminate disease throughout the galaxy. This energy system could provide power for 1,000 years without any pollution. Kethmiran called the Federation Council immediately. You must stop the attack, he said breathlessly. The humans aren't sending weapons information. They're sharing technology that could save billions of lives. But General Thaxmoran was not convinced. It could be a trick. Maybe they want us to think they're peaceful while they prepare to attack. Look at the information they're sending, Kethmiran pleaded. Medical treatments, farming techniques, clean energy. These are the gifts of a species that wants to help, not conquer. Throughout the galaxy, the reaction was the same. Scientists, doctors, and engineers were amazed by the human technology. But military leaders remained suspicious. On the Federation flagship Eternal Glory, Supreme Admiral Cortis was reading the human transmissions with growing confusion. Sir, his science officer reported, these humans are giving us technology It's worth more than the entire Federation treasury. Why would conquerors share this kind of information? Cortis studied the data. The humans were showing them how to build reactors that could power entire star systems safely. They were sharing medical knowledge that could add centuries to the lives of every species in the galaxy. Sir, incoming message from Nexus Prime. The communication officer announced. The face of Counselor Yith-Ara appeared on the main screen. Admiral, you must delay your attack. The Science Council is reviewing the human transmissions. They believe these beings are not enemies. Counselor, they destroyed one of our ships. Cortis replied. It may have been an accident. They're defensive. Systems appear to be automatic. Admiral, these humans are sharing technology that could transform our entire civilization. Would conquerors do that? Cortis felt uncertain for the first time in his military career. He looked at his tactical display. His fleet was almost in weapons range of the human ships. On the Titan, Captain Jake Harrison watched the alien fleet approach. Any response to our transmission? He asked. Some of the ships are slowing down, reported Steve Martinez. But others are still coming straight at us. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was monitoring alien communications. Captain, I'm hearing debates on their command channels. Some want to attack, others want to talk. They're arguing among themselves. Suddenly, one ship broke away from the Federation fleet. It was smaller than the others and moved quickly toward the human vessels. Captain, Danny Walsh called out, we're being contacted by that lone ship. They're requesting permission to approach peacefully. The ship that approached was commanded by Commander Ralph Thick of the Nexari species. She was a scientist, not a soldier, and she had convinced her crew to break away from the attack fleet. Human vessels, Ralph Thick transmitted. I am Commander Ralph Thick of the science ship Bright Star. I have studied your transmissions. Your technology could save millions of lives in my star system alone. Are you truly offering this knowledge freely? Dr. Maria Lopez took the communication. Commander Ralph Thick, we are offering this knowledge as a gift to all species in the galaxy. We want to be friends, not enemies. But why? Ralph Thick asked. Your technology is far beyond ours. You could take whatever you wanted from us. Why do? You choose to give instead? Maria smiled, even though she knew the alien couldn't see her. Because that's what friends do. They help each other. More ships began breaking away from the attack fleet. Scientists and doctors throughout the galaxy were reading the human transmissions and realizing what they meant. This was not invasion preparation. This was the greatest scientific gift in galactic history. On Nexus Prime, the Federation Council held an emergency vote. By a margin of 37-6, they voted to halt the attack and open diplomatic relations with the humans. General Thax Morin was one of the 6 who voted to continue fighting, but even he was beginning to have doubts. If these humans wanted to conquer us, he thought to himself, why would they give us the tools to become as powerful as they are? Supreme Admiral Cortis received the order to stand down just as his fleet reached weapons range. He had never been so relieved to receive a command in his entire career. All ships, halt your advance, Cortis ordered. Prepare for diplomatic contact with the human fleet. Captain Jake Harrison felt like a huge weight had been lifted from his shoulders. When the alien fleet stopped, Danny opened a channel to their flagship. Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Jake Harrison of the United Earthship Titan. We come in peace and friendship. We hope this is the beginning of a long and beneficial relationship between our species. Admiral Cortis appeared on the main screen. He was a large, intimidating alien, but his voice was respectful. Captain Harrison, I am Supreme Admiral Cortis. On behalf of the Galactic Federation, I apologize for our hostile approach. We misunderstood your intentions. No apology needed, Admiral. We understand that our arrival was unexpected. We should have been more careful about how we introduced ourselves. Dr. Maria Lopez smiled as she watched the two military leaders talking like old friends. Her plan had worked. Fear and suspicion were being replaced by curiosity and hope. Over the following days, representatives from dozens of species came to meet the humans. Scientists, doctors, engineers, and diplomats all wanted to learn about the incredible technology the humans had shared. Captain Larry Davis of the Endeavour found himself hosting a conference with alien agricultural experts who were amazed by human farming techniques. With this knowledge, one alien scientist said, we could feed every hungry person in our star system. Admiral Beth Morgan watched as construction began on the first joint human-alien research station. The project that had started as a simple exploration mission was becoming the foundation for a new age of galactic cooperation. You know, Jake said to Maria as they watched alien and human scientists working together, when we left Earth, we thought we were just going to study some stars and planets. Maria laughed. Instead, we accidentally became the most important diplomatic mission in human history. The galaxy had learned that the humans were not conquerors, but teachers. The fear that had once gripped entire civilizations was replaced by excitement about the future. And it all started because one scan of a human dreadnought had sent the galaxy into panic mode. But the Corvin probe ship Shadow Strike moved through space like a metal arrow. Its mission was simple: get close to the human vessels, take detailed scans, and report back to the Federation fleet. Commander Greg Tar had done missions like this hundreds of times before. This should have been easy. Target acquired, Greg Tar said to his crew. Beginning approach to the largest enemy vessel. Maintain stealth mode and prepare scanning equipment. On the Titan, Lieutenant Commander Steve Martinez was watching his tactical screens when something caught his attention. A small object was moving toward them at high speed. His computer systems automatically identified it as a potential threat. Captain Harrison to the bridge immediately, Steve called over the ship's communication system. We have an incoming missile. Jake ran to the bridge, still putting on his uniform jacket. What's the situation? Unknown object approaching fast, Steve said, pointing at his screen. It's small, but it's heading straight for us. The computer thinks it might be a weapon. Dr. Sam Peterson looked at his science readings. Actually, Steve, I don't think it's a missile. The energy signature looks more like a reconnaissance probe. Someone's trying to spy on us. Jake felt relieved. So they're just trying to get a closer look at us? That's what I think, Captain. But our defensive systems don't know the difference between a spy probe and a missile. They're getting ready to shoot it down automatically. Jake thought quickly. If they destroyed the probe, it might look like an act of war. But if they let it scan them, the aliens might learn something that would make them even more afraid. Steve, can we disable the automatic defenses? I can try, Captain, but the computer system is designed to protect the ship. If something gets too close and looks threatening, it will fire no matter what I do. The probe ship Shadow Strike moved closer to the human fleet. Commander Greg Tar was excited. He was about to get the first close-up look at the mysterious invaders. The information he gathered would help the Federation plan their response. Sir, his sensor operator called out, the human ships are scanning us. Their sensor beams are incredibly powerful. They know exactly where we are. Greg Tar felt nervous. Can they hurt us with those scanners? I don't know, sir. The energy levels are unlike anything I've ever seen. If they wanted to, they could probably fry our ship's electronics from here. On the Titan, Jake watched as the probe got closer and closer. The ship's defensive computers were counting down. 5,000 kilometers, 4,000, 3,000. At 1,000 kilometers, the automatic systems would fire. Steve, Shut down the defense grid now, Jake ordered. I'm trying, Captain. But the system won't accept the command. It says the threat level is too high. Commander Alex Turner, who was in charge of ship security, looked up from his station. Captain, that probe is definitely military. It's armed with some kind of weapons. System. Jake felt his heart pound. An armed probe heading straight for them, his crew looking to him for orders. The automatic defenses ready to fire. Everything was happening too fast. 2,000 kilometers and closing, Steve reported. On the probe. Ship. Greg Tarr suddenly realized something was wrong. His instruments were detecting massive energy buildups on the human vessels. They were powering up weapon systems that made his little ship look like a toy. Sir, they're targeting us, his crew member shouted. Energy readings are off the charts. They're going to vaporize us. Greg Tarr panicked. All power to engines. Get us out of here. But it was too late. The probe had crossed the 1,000-kilometer line. The Titan's automatic defense systems activated. A beam of pure energy shot out from the human ship. It moved faster than light and hit the probe with perfect accuracy. The shadow strike simply disappeared. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. Not destroyed, not blown up, just gone. The entire incident lasted less than 2 seconds. On. The Titan. Jake stared at his screens in shock. What just happened? Steve checked his instruments. The defensive systems fired a point defense beam. The probe was completely vaporized. There's nothing left of it at all. Dr. Sam Peterson looked sick. Captain, that probe was probably just trying to study us. We just destroyed what might have been their equivalent of a science mission. Jake felt terrible. Can we tell them it was an accident? I don't think they'll believe us, Sam said quietly. Across the galaxy, sensor stations detected the energy discharge from the human weapon. The readings were impossible to believe. The humans had destroyed a military probe with a single shot that had traveled faster than the speed of light. On Nexus Prime, General Fax Morin received the battle report. His face went pale as he read the numbers. Impossible, he whispered. No weapon can move that fast. No energy beam can be that precise. Intelligence Analyst Morthkick brought more bad news. Sir, our probe didn't just get destroyed. According to these readings, it was completely converted to energy. Every atom was torn apart. There's literally nothing left. The news spread through the Federation fleet like wildfire. The humans had demonstrated a weapon that could destroy any ship instantly from impossible distances. Fear turned to panic. Panic turned to desperation. Supreme Admiral Korkis commanded the Federation fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Glory. He was an old soldier who had fought in many wars. But he had never faced an enemy like this. All ships, battle stations, Korkis ordered. If these humans want to fight, we'll give them everything we have. But we attack together, or not at all. 300 Federation ships moved into attack. Formation. Their weapons were charged and ready. They knew they were probably going to die, but they would defend their homes no matter what. On the human ships, alarms started ringing. Captain Paul Johnson of the U.S. Liberty called Jake on the communication system. Jake, my sensors are showing a massive fleet heading our way. Hundreds of ships. This looks bad. Captain Jake Harrison felt sick. His peaceful exploration mission had turned into a nightmare. Paul, make sure all ships are ready to defend themselves, but do not fire first. We're not starting a war if we can help it. Colonel Nancy White, the Titan's security chief, was preparing her soldiers for possible boarding actions. She was a tough woman who had served in Earth's military for 20 years. Colonel, Jake called to her, what are our chances if they attack? Nancy looked at her tactical displays. Honestly, Captain, their weapons can't even get through our basic shields. But there are so many of them that they might try to ram us or use suicide attacks. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was monitoring alien communication. Channels. Captain, I'm hearing emergency broadcasts from all over the galaxy. They think we're about to invade their entire civilization. Can you tell them we don't want to fight? I've been trying, Captain, but the translation problems make everything sound like a threat. The more we try to explain, the more frightened they become. Captain Tim Anderson of the UES Unity sent a message to all human ships. Everyone stay calm. Do not fire unless fired upon. Maybe we can still find a peaceful solution. But in space, the Federation fleet was getting closer. Admiral Cortez had made his decision. The humans had destroyed a Federation vessel without warning. In his mind, the war had already begun. All ships, prepare to engage, Cortez ordered. Fire everything we have. If we're going to die today, let's make sure they remember us. Jake watched the approaching fleet on his screens. 300 alien ships against 5 human vessels. He had never felt so helpless in his entire life. All hands, this is the captain, Jake announced to his crew. We are about to be attacked by forces that are afraid of us. We will defend ourselves, but we will not be the aggressors. We came here in peace, and we will try to leave in peace. The two fleets faced each other in the darkness of space. Neither side wanted this fight, but fear and misunderstanding had made it inevitable. In a few minutes, the galaxy would learn. What happened when primitive weapons met advanced technology, that the battle that would change everything was about to begin. Communications specialist Karen Brown had been working for 3 days straight. Her eyes were red from staring at screens, and her fingers hurt from typing, but she had finally done it. She had figured out how to talk to the aliens. Captain Harrison, I think I've got it, Karen said into her headset. I've managed to connect with their communication system. The computer has been learning their languages, and I think we can start talking to them now. Jake rushed to the communication center. Karen was sitting in front of a wall of blinking screens and strange symbols that looked like alien writing. Show me what you've got, Karen, Jake said. Well, the good news is that they have something like our universal translation programs. The bad news is that it's not working very well. Watch this. Karen typed a simple message. Hello, we are peaceful. Explorers from Earth. The alien translation system changed it to something that appeared on screen as, Greetings, we are advanced scouts from the war world Terra, here to study your weaknesses. Jake felt his blood turn cold. That's not what we meant at all. I know, Captain, but their translation system seems to be designed for military communications. Every peaceful word we use, it's changed into something that sounds threatening. Meanwhile, on the Federation Council's main meeting hall, panic was spreading like a disease. Representatives from 43 different species filled the large room. Everyone was talking at once, and no one was listening. General Thax Morin stood at the center of the chaos. He was a huge warrior from the Corvin species, with thick gray skin and muscles like stone. His people had been soldiers for thousands of years, and he knew danger when he saw it. Silence! Thax Morin roared. His voice was so loud that everyone stopped talking. We are wasting time with useless debate. The enemy has sent us a message, and it is very clear. They call themselves scouts from a war world. They want to study our weaknesses. This is how every invasion in history has started. Counselor Euthara tried to speak calmly. General, maybe there was a translation error. Perhaps they meant something different. Translation error? Thax Morin laughed, but it was not a happy sound. They have technology beyond her understanding. They scan through our best shields like they are made of air. Do you think beings that advanced would make simple translation mistakes? Old Kethmirin had been quiet during all the shouting. Now he stood up slowly, his ancient bones creaking. I have lived for over 800 years, Kethmiran said. I have seen wars that destroyed entire star systems. I have watched species disappear from the galaxy forever. But I have never seen anything like this. The room became very quiet. Everyone respected Kethmiran's wisdom. These humans, if that is what they call themselves, have built a ship that should not be possible. They use energy sources that we consider too dangerous to even study. Their message may sound threatening, but I wonder if they even understand how terrifying they appear to us. On the Titan, Captain Jake Harrison was meeting with his senior officers. Everyone looked worried. More alien ships were approaching their position every hour. How many are we tracking now, Steve? Jake asked his tactical officer. Lieutenant Commander Steve Martinez checked his screens. 47 ships, Captain. They're coming from 8 different directions. Some of them are big enough to be battleships. Dr. Sam Peterson had been studying the approaching vessels. Captain, I've been analyzing their technology. These ships are armed, but their weapons are incredibly primitive compared to ours. Their biggest guns fire metal projectiles. Their energy weapons look like simple laser systems. What are you saying, Sam? Jake asked. I'm saying that if they attack us, our normal defensive systems will stop their weapons easily. They can't hurt us, but they don't know that. They probably think they're preparing for a battle against equals. Admiral Beth Morgan felt sick to her stomach. So we're in a situation where they're afraid of us. We don't want to fight them, but they're getting ready to attack us anyway. That's exactly right, Admiral, Sam said. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had been listening to alien communication channels. It gets worse. I'm picking up broadcasts from all over the galaxy. News reports, military communications, emergency meetings. The word is spreading that a super-advanced war species has appeared at the edge of known space. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, entire civilizations were preparing for war because his peaceful exploration ship was too advanced for them to understand. Danny, send another message, Jake ordered. Make it as clear as possible that we don't want to fight anyone. Danny Walsh worked on the message for an hour. He tried every peaceful word he could think of. The message he sent said, "We are scientists and explorers. We study stars and planets. We do not want war. We want to learn about your cultures and share knowledge." The alien translation system received the message and changed it to, "We are military intelligence specialists. We catalog your strategic resources and defensive positions. We will decide if you are worthy of conquest. We demand you share your military secrets." On Nexus Prime, the translated message caused immediate panic. Several council members fainted. Others started crying. General Thaxmoran smiled grimly. "Now do you see?" Thaxmoran said, "They demand our military secrets. They want to know our defenses so they can plan their attack. The time for talk is over. We must act before they call in their invasion fleet." But Thaxmoran had made a mistake. In the distance, space began to shimmer and bend. New energy signatures appeared on sensors throughout the galaxy. More human ships were arriving. The U.S. Liberty, commanded by Captain Paul Johnson, emerged from its faster-than-light jump. It was another exploration vessel, coming to join the Titan for their survey mission. Behind it came the U.S. Unity, the U.S. Endeavor, and the U.S. Discovery. 5 massive human ships now sat at the edge of galactic space, back to the humans. This was just more ships arriving to help with their peaceful research mission. To the galaxy, it looked like the advanced scouts had called for reinforcements. Emergency. Broadcasts flooded subspace communication networks. "The invasion fleet has arrived," panicked voices reported. 5 super dreadnoughts now threaten all galactic civilization. In the Zephyrin Empire, Ambassador Valthur saw the new arrivals as an opportunity. "Prepare our fastest ship," he ordered. I will go to meet these humans myself. If we can ally with them before the Federation acts, we can control the galaxy. But the Federation Council had already made their decision. General Faxmoran stood before a wall-sized tactical display showing the positions of Federation forces throughout the sector. Supreme Admiral Cortes will lead the containment fleet, Faxmoran announced. We have assembled over 300 ships. If these humans want to fight, we will give them one. On the Titan, Captain Jake Harrison watched as the other human. Ships took positions nearby. He felt better having friends close by, but he didn't realize that his small exploration fleet now looked like the most dangerous military force in galactic history. "Captain," Danny Walsh called out, "I'm receiving a lot of transmissions." "I think they're moving military forces toward our position," Jake sighed. How did a simple exploration mission turn into this mess? Dr. Sam Peterson looked up from his science station. "Captain, I don't think they understand that we're not trying to threaten anyone. To them, we must look like we could destroy their entire civilization if we wanted to. But we don't want to," Jake said. "I know that, and you know that. But they don't know that. And with every message we send, the translation problems make us sound more and more like conquerors." The misunderstanding was complete. Both sides were preparing for a conflict that neither side actually wanted. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when primitive weapons met advanced technology, and the results would change everything forever. Dr. Elena Rodriguez bent over her microscope in the Titan Science Lab. She was studying some strange space dust they had collected when Danny Walsh burst through the door. His face was pale, and his hands were shaking. "Elena, you need to see." "This right away," Danny said. "I'm getting signals from everywhere. Dozens of sources. Maybe hundreds. They're all watching us." Elena looked up from her work. She was a calm woman who had studied alien life for years, but she had never expected to actually meet any. "Show me what you've found." They walked quickly to the communication center. Danny's screens were covered with blinking lights and scrolling. Numbers. Each light represented a signal coming from somewhere in space. "See all these?" Danny pointed at his screen. "Each one is a different source. They're all pointed at us. It's like the whole galaxy knows we're here, and they're all staring at us." Elena studied the patterns. "Are they trying to talk to us?" "I don't think so. It feels more like they're studying us. Like we're some kind of strange animal they've never seen before." Far away on Nexus Prime, the emergency meeting was getting louder and more worried. Intelligence analyst Morph Kit stood at the front of the room with a data pad in his 6-fingered hands. His green skin was even greener than usual, which meant he was very stressed. "The readings keep getting worse," Morphkick said to the council. "This ship isn't just big. Look at these numbers. The hull is made from materials we can't identify. The computer says some of them shouldn't be possible to make." Old Kefmiran leaned forward in his chair. "What do you mean impossible?" "The ship's armor appears to be made from compressed neutron matter mixed with something our scanners can't recognize. To make materials like that, you would need to control gravity itself. No one in the galaxy can do that." A worried voice came from the back of the room. "What about their weapons?" Morthkick looked even more nervous. "That's the worst part. We can detect weapon systems, but we can't understand how they work. The energy signatures suggest they're using controlled antimatter reactions." The room went completely quiet. Everyone in the galaxy knew that antimatter was the most dangerous substance in the universe. A small amount could destroy a city. A large amount could destroy a planet. Counselor Yithara spoke in a whisper. "Are you saying they have antimatter weapons?" "It's worse than that," Morthkick replied. "It looks like their entire ship is powered by antimatter. They're flying around in something that could explode with the force of 1,000 suns." On the Titan, Admiral Beth Morgan was reading reports in her ready room. She was the senior officer for the mission, a smart woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Captain Jake Harrison sat across from her, looking confused. "The sensor readings don't make sense, Beth," Jake said. "We're detecting technology everywhere, but it all seems so primitive. Their ships are using fusion reactors instead of antimatter. Their weapons look like they shoot pieces of metal instead of energy beams." Beth looked at the reports. Maybe they choose simpler technology for safety reasons? Maybe. But some of their stuff looks like it's from our history books. Like something we might have built 300 years ago. Dr. Elena Rodriguez knocked on the door and entered. She was carrying a tablet full of analysis results. "Admiral, Captain, I think I know why everyone seems so interested in us," Elena said. "I've been studying the signals Danny is receiving. I think we accidentally announced ourselves as the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Jake looked surprised. "What do you mean?" Elena sat down and showed them her tablet. "Our normal sensor sweeps are apparently much more powerful than anything they use. When we scan something, we can see through solid metal, detect tiny amounts of different materials, and measure things from millions of miles away. To them, this probably looks like we have weapons that can see all their secrets." Beth understood immediately. "So when we do a routine scan, they think we're targeting them with some kind of super weapon." "Exactly. And our ship is so much bigger than theirs that they probably think we're a warship designed to conquer planets." Meanwhile, in the capital city of the Zephyrian Empire, Ambassador Velthur was reading the same intelligence reports. The Zephyrians were the Federation's biggest rivals, and they were always looking for ways to gain an advantage. Velthur was a tall, thin alien with purple skin and 4 eyes. He was very smart and very ambitious. As he read about the human ship, an idea began to form in his mind. If this new species is as powerful as the reports say, Velthur thought to himself, maybe we can convince them to be our allies. With their technology, we could defeat the Federation once and for all. He called his military advisors and told them to prepare a fleet. The Zephyrians would try to make contact with the humans before the Federation did. Back on the Titan, communications. Officer Danny Walsh was getting more and more worried. The number of signals pointing at their ship was growing by the hour. "Captain," Danny said over the ship's communication system, "I'm now detecting military-style signals from at least 6 different directions. I think someone might be getting ready to attack us." Captain Jake Harrison felt his stomach tighten. This was supposed to be a peaceful exploration mission. They had never expected to find themselves in the middle of what looked like a military situation. "All hands, this is the captain," Jake announced to the entire ship. "We may have a situation developing. All department heads report to the bridge immediately." Lieutenant Commander Steve Martinez was the first to arrive. He was in charge of the ship's weapons and defenses. Steve was a short, muscular man who took his job very seriously. "Captain, our sensors are showing military ships moving toward our position," Steve said. "I count at least 12 vessels, maybe more. They're still pretty far away, but they're definitely heading our way." Dr. Sam Peterson, the mission's chief scientist, arrived next. He was a tall, thin man with a beard who loved solving puzzles. "I've been studying the alien technology we're detecting," Sam said. "Captain, I think we have a problem. Their most advanced warships appear to be using technology that we stopped using centuries ago. If they think we're hostile, they might attack us with weapons that can't even hurt our ship." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "You mean we might accidentally start a war because they're afraid of us?" "That's exactly what I mean, Captain. To them, we must look like gods with the power to destroy entire worlds. They're probably terrified." Admiral Beth Morgan joined them on the bridge. She had been listening to the reports from her ready room. Options? She asked simply. Captain Jake Harrison looked at his crew. They were millions of miles from Earth, surrounded by aliens who thought they were dangerous invaders. Their peaceful exploration mission had somehow turned into a first contact scenario that could end in disaster. We tried to talk to them, Jake decided. Danny, prepare a more detailed message. Make it very clear that we're explorers, not conquerors. Tell them we want to be friends. As Danny worked on the message, none of them realized that their words would soon be analyzed by alien intelligence experts who would interpret exploration as scouting for invasion and friendship as terms of surrender. The misunderstanding was getting worse with every passing hour, and more alien ships were heading their way. The alarm bells rang across monitoring station Omega-7 like angry metal birds. Commander Zarathul dropped her morning drink and rushed to the main control room. Her 4 arms moved quickly over the glowing panels as she tried to understand what was happening. The sensors were going crazy. Something big was coming out of deep space. What do we have? Zarathul asked her team. Her voice was calm, but inside she felt worried. In her 20 years of watching the edge of known space, she had never seen readings like this. Lieutenant Vexton looked up from his station with wide, yellow eyes. Commander, there's a massive energy spike coming from Sector 97 Alpha. The computer can't identify what it is. The size readings don't make sense. Zarathul moved to the main screen. Numbers and lines danced across the display. Her brain tried to process what she was seeing. The object was huge, bigger than anything she had ever seen before. The energy it was giving off was enough to power a small moon. Are you sure these readings are correct? She asked. I've checked 3 times, Commander. The sensors are working fine. Whatever is out there, it's about 12 kilometers long and putting out more energy than our entire fleet combined. 12 kilometers. Zarathul felt her stomach drop. The biggest ships in the Galactic Federation were maybe 2 kilometers long. This thing was 6 times larger than anything they had ever built. Far away in the darkness of space, Captain Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the UE's Titan. He was a tall man with brown hair and kind eyes. Around him, his crew worked at their stations. Everyone was excited. They had just completed humanity's first jump to another star system. Jump completed successfully, Captain, said Navigation Officer Ryan Cooper. He was young and eager, fresh out of the academy. All systems are green. We're exactly where we wanted to be. Jake smiled. Good work, Ryan. Lisa, how are our engines doing? Chief Engineer Lisa Park checked her screens. She was a small woman with smart eyes, who knew more about the ship's engines than anyone else alive. Everything looks perfect, Captain. The new drive system worked better than we hoped. We could probably jump again right now if we needed to. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Jake said with a laugh. We're here to explore, not to break speed records. Danny, start the sensor sweep. Let's see what this system has to offer. Communications Officer Danny Walsh nodded and began his work. Starting full spectrum scan now, Captain. This should tell us about any planets, moons, or other objects in the system. Jake looked out at the stars through the big windows of the bridge. Earth was so far away now that their sun was just another point of light. They were truly alone out here, the first humans to travel this far from home. It felt amazing and scary at the same time. The sensor sweep began automatically. Invisible beams of energy spread out from the Titan in all directions. The ship's computers started mapping everything they could find. Planets, asteroids, gas clouds, anything that might be interesting to study. What the humans did not know was that their sensors were much more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The energy beams could see through solid rock, detect the smallest pieces of metal, and measure things from millions of miles away. To the humans, this was normal. To everyone else in the galaxy, it was impossible. Back on monitoring station Omega-7, more alarms started ringing. Zarathal watched as her screens filled with new information. The mysterious ship was scanning everything. The power of its sensors was beyond anything in their books. "Commander," Vexton said in a shaky voice, "it's scanning us, right now. I can feel the energy beams hitting our station." Zarathal's blood went cold. "Can it see through our shields?" "I think it can see through everything, Commander. Our best hiding technology isn't stopping it at all. It knows we're here." On the Titan, Danny Walsh looked confused as his screens filled with strange signals. "Captain, I'm picking up some weird readings. There are artificial objects all over. This system, lots of them. I think we might not be alone here." Jake moved to Danny's station. "Artificial objects? You mean like space stations?" "I think so, sir. The computer is still trying to figure out what they are. But they're definitely made by someone not natural." Chief Engineer Lisa Park looked up from her work. "Captain, our sensors are working perfectly. If Danny's reading artificial objects, then there are artificial objects out there." Jake felt excited and nervous at the same time. "So we found alien life?" "It looks that way, sir," Danny said. "On the planet Nexus Prime, home of the Galactic Federation government, ancient scholar Kethmiran received an urgent message." His old eyes scanned the report quickly. As one of the smartest beings in the galaxy, he understood immediately how serious this was. "Impossible," he whispered to himself. "No one can build ships that big. No one has sensors that powerful." He called an emergency meeting of the Science Council. Within an hour, representatives from a dozen species gathered in the Great Hall. The air was filled with worried voices speaking in different languages. "Fellow council members," Kethmiran began, "we have a situation. A ship of unknown origin has appeared at the edge of our space. This vessel is larger than anything we have ever seen and appears to possess technology far beyond our understanding." The room erupted in shocked voices. Some council members demanded proof. Others wanted to send ships to investigate. A few suggested they should hide and hope the mysterious ship would go away. "What do we know about who built it?" asked Counselor Yithara, a tall blue-skinned woman from the ocean world of Aquatica. "Nothing," Kethmiran replied. "The ship design is completely unknown. The materials it's made from don't match anything in our databases. And the energy readings suggest they have mastered technologies we consider theoretical at best." Back on the Titan, Captain Jake Harrison made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. "Danny, prepare a standard greeting message. If there are people out there, we should introduce ourselves." "What should I say, Captain?" Jake thought for a moment. "Tell them we're explorers from Earth. We come in peace, and we're interested in learning about their cultures and sharing knowledge." As Danny prepared the message, none of the humans realized that their simple greeting would soon be interpreted as the first communication from a species so advanced that it could destroy the entire galaxy if it wanted to. The peaceful exploration mission was about to become the most important event in galactic history. The message was sent, traveling at the speed of light toward the nearest detected artificial object. In a few hours, it would be received by very worried aliens who had no idea what to make of the ship that seemed to be scanning their deepest secrets with ease. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again.